Hi everyone, I'm Shelby, and for my theme, I decided to go with science, technology, and innovation and the evolution of it throughout our time periods that we learned about. For my first artifact, I decided to go with chapter 2 and with the Mesopotamia era with the wheels. They started off as pottery and then they started using tree trunks as they started evolving, which led to the creation of rims and spokes and axles for turning. It was great for wagons and taking resources to longer places. They used horses or cows or ox, to move them. Later on, making the great chariots, in ancient Greece and everything. For my second artifact, I decided to go with chapter 10 and using the farm plow. I went over the farm plow again with our Egyptian times, but I wanted to include it again because with evolution and how things get brought along with the time period, it later became something that everyone could use, and it was made for farming, and I really like agriculture. So I wanted to include that in my presentation and how agriculture has always been evolving as well as technology and everything. So I thought that was pretty innovative, and how the plow has changed, but it has also been used during Egyptian times. And even then, from here, it was still the poor that was using it. For my third artifact, I decided to go with the dome. I'm not even going to try to say his name because I know I've already said it so many times wrong. It was during the Florence and early Renaissance, and this was a big breakthrough with architecture because Arnolfo, he was able to actually be the creator of this cathedral, even though it went under a lot of different architectures. Just through a span of like 100 years, he was finally able to finish it. And the dome was really the breaking point in architecture because he was looking at places in Florence and with the Pantheon and how the walls were 20 feet thick in order to keep this dome from collapsing. And he didn't want that to happen. So he made the ribs with the skeletal figure in the picture above. It was a big breakthrough because he used, of course, math and other things with his architecture, and he was able to create this grand cathedral because he just learned, and he was able to change the game for architecture from then on, and he's known for one of the greatest architectures in the world now. So for my fourth artifact, I decided to do Leonardo da Vinci's parachute. It was from the Reformation time. The parachute can be seen in ancient Chinese texts, like from 100 years ago, and can also be found in Arabic regions as well. But it's mainly famous for Leonardo da Vinci's Italian creation, and with this, we know how the parachute has now evolved in the military using it, and being able to jump out of planes, skydiving. And of course, it's a lot better and is evolved and is able to save lives, probably where this parachute probably wouldn't have. But I decided to use these four artifacts because it shows how, from the simplest thing like the wheels to parachutes and architecture, how science and chemistry and how we created it just out of nothing, and people just learning and becoming educated. And for the time, for what caused these things to evolve, things like nature and the flooding and the plows and stuff in Egypt, they used it on the Nile River, and now people during all this time, for the poor, even probably rich people farming, but they have to change with nature, and they have to change their ways of, evolving. And discovering new land, I think, helped as well because we were able to move those things from England, when Columbus discovered the United States, and I think the churches with the Reformation and everything, even though during that time things were happening, Leonardo da Vinci was able to create this grand thing, the parachute. And I think time is really the only thing that you can say that caused the innovation, because innovation is going to happen either way. And technology and science was created, and there's only one way to go, and it's up, and it's to learn new things and theories and through. So for the future, we obviously think of like SpaceX and more technology and more metal, and all I can think of is there's going to be more technology. We're going to be more self-sufficient robots. Like we're going to have to change our occupations in the future because we're going to have to repair those robots. We're going to have to learn how to make things because we're already going to probably make everything, so we're going to have to repair those things. I think we're going to have to build up more, with architecture. It's going to have to evolve, and we're going to have to be making more taller buildings like skyscrapers and stuff, because there's only going to be more people and less space. Because by 2050, there's supposed to be a jump in 2 billion people, and so we're not going to have enough room. So, some of my main takeaways, I'm sorry for stuttering, people created these artifacts from nothing. And, people just had this idea and they just made it without even knowing that they were using science or math or anything. Even with oil paintings and stuff, people just made that to make colors and they had no idea they were using chemistry. People are evolving without even knowing it. Back then, if you ask our ancient relatives, they would have no idea. They would probably just be like, yeah, we just made it, we just had to think of something, and like I said, during like the Reformation and everything, everybody was getting attacked by churches, and everybody was just like under all this pressure. Things were still created like the parachute, and it's changed time from now. And all of those artifacts, like even the smallest things, they've changed the world for the better, and people have come a long ways. And so I really am glad that I decided to do science, technology, and innovation, even though it was kind of hard to get into those details during the artifact analysis. But I think I did a good job, and I think that I put a lot of effort into it, and I think that I have a better understanding now. And I am very glad that I decided to choose that thing.